John's just gotten home from work when he hears about this crazy comet Clark. NASA spotted it a couple weeks back, and get this. It's so close you can see it during the day. Wild, right? When John gets home, his wife Allison's there. But things are kind of weird between them. Their conversation's super awkward, like you could cut the tension with a knife. Then their kid Nathan shows up. Poor guy's got diabetes, so he's always got to carry around his medical stuff. They're watching TV, and the news drops this bombshell. Comet Clark isn't just one big rock, but like hundreds of pieces that broke apart ages ago. John and the fam are planning to watch this cosmic spectacle with the neighbors. But before everyone arrives, John and Nathan make a quick run to the store for snacks. As they're pulling up, they see something insane. Hundreds of fighter jets zooming by as Comet Clark shows up in the sky. It's like something out of a movie, I swear. While they're grabbing groceries, John gets this ominous message from the president. Then, as if that wasn't freaky enough, Homeland Security calls and says John's family's been picked for evacuation. Talk about a what the heck moment, right? When he gets back home, the neighbors are already there, and he's got to break this wild news to Allison. The TV's going nuts, saying the comet's gonna smack into Bermuda, but then, plot twist, it lands in Florida instead. So much for those fancy predictions, huh? John gets another alert, but weirdly no one else did. Everyone's freaking out naturally. They tell John he's got to hightail it to Robin Air Force Base for a flight at 9:45 p.m. It's like a mad scramble, packing up everything they can, especially Nathan's meds. As they're about to peel out, their neighbor Ed stops them, begging them to call if they find somewhere safe. Other folks are trying to get John to take their kids too, but he can't. It's a strictly family-only deal. That night, they're stuck in the mother of all traffic jams. Nathan grabs his blanket but fumbles and drops his meds. More news trickles in. Bits of the comet are raining down all over, and NASA's saying a chunk the size of Texas is going to wallop Earth in 2 days. Talk about a ticking time bomb, right? At the base, it's total chaos. There's this huge crowd trying to get in, even though they weren't on the guest list, so to speak. John manages to squeeze through to the front, shows his ID, and gets sent to this place called Ward 33 for some weird bracelet tokens. They've packed way too much. There's a 1 bag per family rule, but they didn't get the memo. Allison suddenly realizes Nathan's meds are MIA, so John's got to sprint back to the car to grab them. It's like a really high-stakes scavenger hunt. Allison tells the guard John's gone to get Nathan's meds, but apparently there's this no sick people rule for the flight. When John gets back, Allison and Nathan have vanished into thin air. He tries to board anyway, but someone spots the meds and gives him the boot. Just as John's about to leave, all hell breaks loose. People are rioting, trying to force their way onto the evacuation flights. There's an explosion. It's complete mayhem. John finds this cryptic note from Allison. Turns out she'd gone to snag Nathan's meds but got pushed out by some crowd. These random folks, Ralph and Judy, gave them a lift. John's trying to call, but the signal's worse than trying to use a phone in the middle of the ocean. Then this dude Colin picks up John. He notices John's fancy bracelet and starts yapping about how they're only choosing useful people for evacuation, like Colin's doctor mom. But Colin got the short end of the stick because he and his mom don't exactly see eye to eye. He tells John they're making a break for Canada to meet some pilot buddy who can fly them to this evacuation spot in Greenland. Things take another wild turn. Ralph and Judy cook up this scheme to pretend Nathan's their kid and hop on another plane, leaving Allison high and dry. Then, out of nowhere, some guy tries to swipe John's bracelet. A fight breaks out, the driver loses control, and bam, they crash. It's like a really messed up game of musical chairs, but with life and death stakes. Feeling guilty as all get out, Allison hitches a ride with some good Samaritan heading her way. At the airport, Ralph tries to pull a fast one, saying his bracelet got swiped, and only his son, Nathan, has one. But Nathan, bless his heart, spills the beans. The kid's got guts. He gets whisked off to safety, and Allison finds him later. Some military guys end up taking Allison to her old man's place, A few days roll by and John's at his wit's end. He breaks into some random house looking for help, but it's emptier than a politician's promises. He catches the news, casualties everywhere, and this terrifying report that a comet chunk the size of Manhattan is going to smack into Earth in 24 hours. John borrows a car faster than you can say apocalypse and hightails it to Allison's dad's place, leaving behind a "sorry I borrowed your car" note. He gets there, but no Allison or Nathan. Dale, Allison's dad, is madder than a wet hen that John left Allison behind. Allison calls out of the blue, and John zooms off to get her. They get back and catch this news report. Europe and North Africa are in the crosshairs for tomorrow morning. There's talk of a shelter in Greenland, and John has this light bulb moment about what Colin said about Canada. They try to convince Dale to come along, but the old man's stubborn as a mule. Just then, some debris starts falling nearby like the world's worst hailstorm. That lights a fire under them, and they book it in Dale's car. The clock's ticking. Only 15 hours left. They hit New York and run smack into a traffic jam, thanks to some train wreck. The radio starts squawking about a meteor shower heading for upstate New York. Sure enough, space rocks start raining down like it's the 4th of July. They hunker down till the coast is clear, then keep pushing on. 6 hours left before the big show. The radio's going on about how this comet's going to make the one that killed the dinosaurs look like a firecracker. We're talking earthquakes that'll rearrange continents, tsunamis tall as skyscrapers, and winds hot as an oven and faster than a speeding bullet. It's like Mother Nature's gone completely bonkers. They finally spot the airport. John goes all action hero, scaling the fence like a ninja. He's chasing down the last plane like it's the last chopper out of Saigon. By some miracle, they convince the pilot to let them aboard. They make it to Greenland, but then things go sideways. The plane hits some turbulence from the comet debris, loses control, and they have to make an emergency landing. The pilot doesn't make it. Real tragedy. John spots a military plane touching down nearby. They make a mad dash for it, running like their lives depend on it, which, they do. The soldiers spot them and scoop them up just in the nick of time. Talk about cutting it close. They pile into this bunker, and through the doors they can see this monster comet barreling towards Earth. Even buried underground, they know they're in for one hell of a ride. The countdown begins. 10 seconds left. It's like New Year's Eve, but instead of a ball drop, it's the end of the world as we know it. Fast forward 9 months. They finally crack open the bunker doors, and holy moly, the Earth looks like it went 10 rounds with a cosmic wrecking ball. Buildings are basically just piles of fancy rubble now. But hey, silver lining. At least the radiation's gone. Everyone's in shock, trying to wrap their heads around this new, messed-up world. They realize it's time to start from scratch, build a new life from the ground up. And that's where our wild ride ends. Can you believe all that? It's like the craziest roller coaster ever, but with comets and the fate of humanity hanging in the balance. Makes you think twice about complaining about a little rain, huh?